Okay, so now we can start with the second tool, Segments AI. So I hope you already have created accounts from the module 2. Head over to segments.ai and click on the login page. Use your credential to log in, and that should bring you to a view like this, right? Uh, Over here, you create a new data set or even clone example data set project. And that is what we are going to do. We're going to select 3D point cloud sequence like that. Make sure cuboids is selected for now and clone the example data set. So once the project is cloned, it will bring you to this page. This is the project that we just cloned. So uh, we see that Segments AI already gave us a lot of classes predefined. So there's pedestrians, there are cars, and trucks. What we want to do is start labeling. So we'll click on start labeling. It should open up the 3D viewer. The 3D viewer is somewhat similar to Supervisely. Now there are some key bindings that I want you to remember for while you're using Segments AI. So right mouse key is to drag and pan around. Shift key plus left mouse key is used to rotate around the viewer, and the mouse wheel is used to zoom in or out of the viewer. So let's see. In this viewer, on the left we see two options: create a cuboid and then the selection tool. We can use our right mouse key to drag the point cloud around and scroll to zoom in. The bottom view is the top view, and then there is an image view. So wherever I take my cursor pointer, the image changes based on where the cursor is in the camera. Okay, and then I can use shift plus left key to rotate the point cloud. The center blob, the black blob that you see, is a eco car, and that is mounted with these 6 cameras, right? Now each of these cameras also have a view at the bottom, so you can click on any of these camera views like that and try to find objects that you want to annotate. You can close the camera viewer and come back to the 3D viewer. Sometimes you will be stuck in this orthographic view. What you want to do is use the right menu and click on orthographic camera. Okay, so that will disable the orthographic view, and you're back into the 3D view. And now let's try to find an object around the viewer. I see there is a truck over there, and let's try to annotate it. I can verify it from the image that it is a truck indeed. So I'm going to find a nice view of this object, drag around, maybe rotate a little bit, and that okay. Now I'm going to create a cuboid. I The first click will create a plane, and then we can drag it to create a cuboid. So I'm clicking here and then drag to create a cuboid. Now the center yellow handle is used to drag around this cuboid, and you can see 3 different views at the bottom, and each of those views have that yellow handle. So like for instance, in the back view, I can use this yellow handle to adjust the cuboid onto the truck like that, and adjust the boundaries so that it is enclosing all the points. Let's adjust it in the top view as well. I can even use the 3D viewer actually. By the way, this is the orientation where the truck is oriented. So you just want to make sure it's oriented correctly. The arrow is the heading direction. Now I can use this 3D viewer to manipulate the cuboid. I can grab any side and adjust it. Can do that with the top side as well. And then use our 3 different views at the bottom to adjust the cuboid. Okay, once you're satisfied with the cuboid in all the views, What you want to do is make sure the correct label is selected for this class, which is the vehicle truck. Now on the right bottom, you will see the information about the keyword that you just created. And there will be some tracking information as well when we are creating this keyword across all the keyframes. So that will basically give us an estimate on how fast the object is moving. So I'm going to click on the next keyframe, try to make adjustment in all of the next keyframes for this truck. Since I believe this truck is stationary, the keyword doesn't need to be moved around a lot. So once the truck is labeled in all of the keyframes and adjusted to include all the points, uh, what we can do is try to find other objects in the scene. We can either use that 3D viewer or maybe use the bottom camera view actually. So let's see. I have camera 2. I see some cars. I don't see anything. I see a pedestrian over there. And I can close this camera view and make sure the pedestrian is there. I saw a few points there and I can just hover around, maybe a different camera view. Okay, this camera view has a few different pedestrians in the front. What I'm going to do is click on this button to take my lidar point cloud also in that same view. Okay, so I'm going to rotate and drag right over the pedestrians. Okay, those are the pedestrians we were looking at in the camera. What I'm going to do is create cuboid and enclose those pedestrians like that. Make sure I find a nice place to click and then drag the cuboid. We want to adjust the heading direction for the pedestrians as well, like so. And then use the bottom 3 viewers to do the same thing. Adjust using the yellow handle, make sure all the points are enclosed. And then we'll move on to the next object. So once you're satisfied with your bounding box, you can just click on the camera view and try to look for another object. I see another person over there right beside. So what we're going to do is close this camera view and create another cuboid to enclose these few points. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to click on the create cuboid, enclose these points and repeat the same thing, adjust it nicely. And once you're satisfied, make sure the heading is correct. Okay. So heading looks good. And now you want to make sure the right classes are selected for these objects. So both of these are, I believe, pedestrian adults. So not the child, adult. Okay. So once that's done, what you want to do is repeat the same process now for different keyframes. Now I click on the next keyframe. I see the object has moved a bit because some of the points are outside. I'm going to drag this first cuboid to make sure all the points are enclosed. Maybe make some adjustment to the boundaries. Click on the second cuboid. Make sure it's over to the object that was moving. Adjust its boundaries. And start doing this for future frames. So next frames. Okay. So once we are done this for a few different frames, what I want to show you is how the tracking works in Segments AI. So I'm going to adjust it to a view like this and then click next frame. And you can see both of the bounding boxes are moving with the points enclosed within them. So that's how the tracking works. Now, once everything is done, you can click save to save your project. This will save all your bounding boxes. And then we can head over to our project page again. Now we're going to create another project to understand the segmentation that we learned in chapter 2. So I'm going to clone a new data set, this time a sequence, and then a segmentation instead of cuboid. So click segmentation and clone the data set. Once it is cloned, you should see a page like this. So there are some classes that is already there for us, pedestrian vehicles. I'm going to click start labeling. And this time we are going to do some segmentation. Okay. So you see some different options. Instead of cuboid, we have a brush, a polygon, and a draw with box. Okay. These options are going to help us do segmentation of object. What we are going to do here is move around in the point cloud. Okay. And try to find an object. I'm going to try to find the same truck that's there. So I'm going to try to, instead of creating bounding box, I'm going to try to segment this truck. So all the points, I want to color them. Remember from module 2 how different objects can be colored in the segmentation process. Okay, so in the bottom view, I'm going to make some adjustments so that the truck is nicely oriented like that, and then maybe zoom in. Okay, so what we want to do is, let's start with the box. I'm going to draw a box around this object. I'm going to click and drag like that. Okay. And then once you release, you'll see all the points that were part of the point cloud are now colored yellow, which is basically maybe the color for this object. But what we want to do is uh, also include some of the points that we missed. And you can see these points are colored yellow in all the views, in the top view, in the main viewer, even the image. Even the image shows that the points are yellow. That's how the segmentation works. And then you can go ahead and select the correct class for this segmentation object, which is going to be vehicle truck. And now we're going to try to find those pedestrians as well from the last project. So those pedestrians were right in front over there. Okay, so let's try to use the brush tool to color these. Okay, so I'm going to go on the left menu and click on the brush tool. We can also change the size of the brush. Say it's large now, but I'm going to keep it small like that, and then try to just click and brush over to the points that I believe belong to this segmentation object. So you see, when I'm doing that, all the points are turning yellow. All these are pedestrians. Okay, you have to be careful about not selecting ground or other object points. And then once you're done, uh, you can fix its label and everything. If you believe that you maybe included the points incorrectly into another class, what you want to do is erase them, right, from the segmentation object. Now, the way you do it is click on the brush tool again, and you'll see a little eraser icon at the bottom. And you can just use that same technique to erase the segmentation like that. Okay. Then you can create a new class and then do the same thing again. So that brings us to the end of this exciting journey. I hope the content of this course helped you in understanding the promising field of mapping and LiDARs. The best way to stay updated with these tools is to practice and explore features that each of these tools have to offer. I wish you all the best in the annotation journey for your future. Thank you.